Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to talk about something pretty simple and something that you should do pretty much on the reg, and that is cleaning your mechanical keyboard, but not necessarily a deep clean, more of a on the surface every month now and then kind of clean. So for me, I like to do this about every 4 to 6 weeks depending on the keyboard. For keyboards with a floating keycap design such as my drop control, with its floating keycap design, dust is always getting under those keycaps and between all the keys, so it needs to be cleaned much more regularly than a keyboard that doesn't have a floating keycap style such as the K6, where dust doesn't really go into those spaces as often. So let's talk about some of the things that you may need. We like to have some microfiber towels. In this case, I'm using a few old handkerchiefs that we don't use anymore. Don't use paper towels because those things shed more dust and it'll just accumulate after you clean it. So I highly don't recommend that. You can even use an old t-shirt if you want. The second thing I like to use are Q-tips. Those things with the cotton swab at the end that you put into your ears or do makeup with. That's really easy and convenient to get in between the spaces where your fingers just don't fit in there. The next thing will be some warm water and soap, and this is not for your keyboard, this is for your keycaps actually. So that's going to go into a bowl on the side, and then if it's super dusty, has a bunch of hair, animal fur, things like that, you can get a vacuum cleaner too. So first steps first is unplug the keyboard. You don't want to do strange things on your keyboard buttons while your computer is connected to it. That's how you go into using a layout or messing with some settings that you really don't want to. So unplug that keyboard. The second thing that you do is take off all of your keycaps. You can use a keycap puller. There's different ones. There's the plastic rings ones or the wire keycap pullers. I prefer the wire ones because you don't really scratch up your keycaps during the process. Or if it's a floating keycap style design and everything's pretty accessible, you can just use your fingers and slowly take them off. Make sure you're giving them a little bit of a wiggle before you just yank them out, or you might yank the stems out of your switches, which isn't cool. Now, if your keyboard is super dusty, now is when you get that vacuum and use the long nose accessory and just suck up the dust and hair on the switches really quickly. And now that we've done the big cleaning, now we can get our Q-tips or our cloth to clean the top plate between our switches. If your keyboard is hot swappable, you can open it up and just lightly clean it on the inside, but that's not really necessary for this since we're doing an on the surface cleaning. So I just like to use Q-tips and like a small brush and brush all the dust and hair and stuff off. With the keycaps that you took off, put them in a bowl with warm water and maybe a drop or two of soap, and let that soak for about 20 to 30 minutes while you're doing this stuff. You can give them a little shake and make sure that that soap is spreading everywhere. After 20 to 30 minutes, you strain them, make sure there's no more soap left, and then lay them on a towel to dry, or throw them in a pillowcase and shake them to dry them a little bit faster. Either way, you want to let them dry completely, including those little cross-shaped areas in the keycaps. You want that to dry completely before reassembling your keyboard, and that may take a while because water can get in there and stay in there, so I like to shake it for a really long time. Afterwards, you reassemble it back and it should be a bunch cleaner than it was before. It's relatively easy to do. Don't use the compressed air since that could mess with some of the components inside. Hope that video was helpful. It's relatively easy to clean your mechanical keyboard. If you spill something on your keyboard, that's when we would recommend doing a farther, deeper cleaning And I'll link you guys to a guide down below about doing that kind of cleaning if that's happened to you. It's a really good resource. But I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to link you guys to all of our mechanical keyboard tips and tricks here, and then a video here that the YouTube algorithm thinks you might really like, and subscribe here if you want to. I'll see you in the next one.